Well, hello everyone. It's Wednesday. Happy hump day to you. I hope today finds you calm and peaceful or whatever you need in your life right now. It's certainly been a little crazy and almost disturbing, really. Um, the energies, I would say, have been heavy and challenging. Uh, and I'm not a gloom and doom kind of person by any means, yet I do acknowledge there are some challenges in our country, and they seem to be escalating, and I would say probably all over the world. And we are looking at eclipse energy, and I don't know if y'all follow astrology, and again, I am not an astrologer, yet with the Virgo eclipse, I think Saturn's in Pisces. Basically, we are looking at a time right now, and this is going to be for everyone for the next 6 months. Um, this is that Saturn and Pisces influence. Is we're pretty much all going to be going through a Saturn return for the next 6 months. If you're not going through one with the age you are. So remember, Saturn comes back into its sign you were born in every 30 years, and Saturn. So if you're turning 60 or 30 or somewhere in that time frame, give or take a couple years around that, you're going through a Saturn return. But for all of us, because what's going on right now in the planets, the next 6 months is going to feel like that. And so Saturn is the taskmaster. Saturn comes to remind us to clean up our stuff, to take responsibility, to act with maturity, and really find that maturity and really be responsible, for yourself, for your life. Saturn pushes us out of our comfort zone, and so it always brings change, and sometimes great change. And change, it could show up in your living situation, your relationship situation, career situation. So don't be surprised. Again, this is for the next 6 months. So think about what you need to be more mature about in your life. What do you need to shift around? Because this is a time for you to discard what's not working for you, and to create the space for what will work for you to come in. So you got 6 months. Saturn's pushing behind everybody right now to really deal with their, you know what, just shit. You got to deal with it and grow up. This is a time to grow up, right? And so whatever that might mean for you, where you got to put your, you know, um, adult panties on, so to speak, it's like this is that time. And so there's an escalation in energy for us individually, and of course what we're watching going on in the world and our country in particular. But all of this is happening for a reason, and it is to clear space for us to get into that place where we're going to just like take off and fly for the next, however long. So Saturn leaves Pisces in February of 26. So that's why we're looking at this 6 month marker. And so today, the 17th, I want to shout out to my sister Kelly Bruton for her birthday today. 17, for anybody born on the 17, it's called the Star of the Magi. It's a rewarding number to come in on. It's a spiritual number, and it promises reward after overcoming trials in career and relationships, but it does promise reward, and it is considered a fortunate number. So shout out to my sister. If any of you guys know her, send her a little message, maybe on Facebook or something. It's a joy to be sisters with her this lifetime, and we've had many lifetimes together as sisters, and it's fun to even have the consciousness around it in this one, if that makes sense. So, and one astrologer that I like to follow, I love getting her weekly newsletter, is Katie Sweetman, and she writes for or works empowering astrology, and I love her Monday newsletters because she kind of gives you this overview of what's going on, and then she gives you like a little heads up for each day of the week. And so Wednesday, She says, this is Wednesday, so the 17th. Mercury opposes Saturn in Pisces, a precursor for this upcoming eclipse. So we had eclipse already. We have another one coming up next week. So we're in this 2-week period of eclipse energy, which is shake up time. It is about shaking things up much more than Saturn. Saturn's like push you out of your comfort zone. This eclipse energy is like earthquake energy. So anyway, we have serious decisions to make. We need to set a boundary. We need to reach for maturity. Something may have reached its conclusion. So that's today's energy. And then that's in the air. There's a little bit Thursday, Friday. I'm not going to read her whole thing. But I'd say check it out if you like. Just a little brief update. Now I'm going to get back to over here to where my questions are. Have those ready. Okay, so I did a lot of talking, more than I normally do. And hey, thanks for joining live and checking in already. So let me read the prayer, get my crystal I'm holding, and then let's jump in. Okay. I ask God if He will have a shield of love and truth around you permanently, so only God's love and truth will exist between you and me. I allow the masters, teachers, and loved ones of you to channel through me out of whatever realm to say whatever they wish. I ask the permission of the Lords of the Akashic Records, so I'm able to look into the records of you and remove whatever information I'm allowed. Okay. Okay. All right. So the guides are saying they are showing me is putting a beautiful soft pink light around the earth, and they're telling me that they are sending a lot of compassion, and they are holding the earth in a loving embrace while we go through so much transition here, while hurt and violence and all of that stuff are escalating. They are reminding me that there is a meaning to all of this, a point in this journey. It is leading to something. And it's kind of like with anything that's building in pressure, once that pressure really hits its climax point and releases, there's a sweet relief, on the other side of that. And so we have to understand that that is coming. The pressure is certainly building, and we are watching it. What we can, pray for, wish for, say our MBOs for, and our benevolent prayers for, is for, that release of pressure to be, I would like to say gentle, but I don't know if that is possible with pressure release, but manageable maybe. And maybe that's my desire to control. No, I'm just being funny. I don't know if y'all read my newsletter this week, but I wrote about the pandemic of pain or just hurt and violence. And when we blame, it's our false sense of being in control. And so I was kind of making a little joke about that. But anyway, we have to trust there is a divine orchestration that is at play. And can our efforts as spiritual beings and conscious beings and aware beings influence the degree of that pressure release? Yes, they are saying. So that is hopeful. We do have some kind of say in this karmic journey that we're on, huh? Give me 1 second. Let's see what else they want to say here. But they do have a lot of love and compassion that they're flooding the earth with right now. It needs so much. And yet they are playing their part in that as well. And they're not interfering where they're not meant to. So, hang on here. The other thing I want to talk about, they said, and this is going on too for everyone, and if it hasn't been your experience, be open to receive this. But dreams right now, and especially because Pisces, I know I talk about astrology a lot, but I love it. Pisces is our intuitive, sign, and it governs dreams, and it governs, visions and intuition. And so for a lot of people, if not, 90% of the people here, dreams are really taking on a different kind of feel. For some, dreams are becoming more vivid, more lucid, more intense, and all of that is reflecting this eclipse energy too. So, and I actually even brought my dream deck with me. This is an old deck. Kelly Sullivan Walden. She's got tons of stuff out there now. She actually does courses, like she trains people to become like dream therapists. So I would say work with your dreams. There's some great books out there. There's one called I Had the Strangest Dream that is pretty, I would say pretty up to date, current, as far as like cell phones and things like that in the world, technologies today, and pretty accurate. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and draw us one dream card. Okay, let's see here. Oh, well, this the dream is called Sex, Kiss, Hug, Face and Embrace All Parts of Yourself. So that's really interesting. This is a time for that because, like I said, Saturn is making us really deal with stuff and grow up right now and really look at our lives and how we want to be here. And we have this next 6 months of a landscape to make those changes. So in the dreamscape, if you are dreaming of someone and in that dream you're hugging them, kissing them, or having intimate relationships with them, then that person represents an aspect of you that you are finally embracing. So if it's a stranger and you don't know this person, then you might be getting ready to embrace a part of you haven't met yet. So everyone in our dreams represent aspects of us. And so it's important to look at what they may represent. How would you identify this person? How do you describe this person? And even if it's somebody you don't like, okay, think about this. If it's somebody you don't like and you have a dream that you're with them in that way, and you're like, oh, what was that all about? Think about what they represent. And it might be that I'm trying to think of an example. You're meant to, or you're embracing it, that part of yourself they represent. And it might be your subconscious way of saying, hey, you're heading down this path you don't really want to head down. Or oftentimes people we don't like just represent our shadow aspects, and it's an invitation to do some of that shadow work and really look at what's coming up for you. So dreams always come to tell us something we don't know in our waking life. They're that powerful. And I'm going to put that card back and we'll draw one at the end. Let's see here. Okay, so if you're a dreamer, not dreamer, I would tell you to get your notebooks out, put them by the bed, at least for the next week or two, and write your dreams down, no matter what they mean. Or if it doesn't make sense, most of them don't. If it's a snippet, just write it down. Okay, so I'm going to jump into my questions, and then we will have time to answer some questions live today. Okay, so here's one. So this person reads my newsletter, and in the newsletter I have mentioned that I'm looking at places to teach how to access the Akashic records for yourself and for others, and that you would get a certification to do what I do, so to speak. And I'm looking at places next year. And so she said, Will there be a prerequisite for your Akashic retreat in the future? I'm literally trying to figure out meditation, even though I've been on a slow and fumbly spiritual type path. I feel like I'd be way behind participants if I were to attend. Is there anything I should be working on or looking into in order to be a good student if I would be able to attend someday, besides being open and loving? So, what a great question. Now, I will say meditation is so helpful. And I'm talking about meditation where you really can get into that space where you release resistance and you're open. Um, it is really helpful. It's I would like to say it's a prerequisite, yet it's not going to be. One of the things that I'll do different in my retreat is we'll incorporate some meditation in it. And so, because it would be in a group setting, because it's guided, distractions are removed from you, and you're not at your home, it does make it easier to get into that access place. Um, so, to answer your question short, no, it's not a prerequisite. If there's one meditation I would say do, it's find that old one on my YouTube, Creating Your Inner Sanctuary, or um, go to the one on my website, and they're free. Y'all can just sign in. Liquid17 is the password. Um, and do Create Your Inner Sanctuary. If you just put that on repeat and get into the habit of that, it will start clicking for you at a certain point. And remember, meditation, it takes a good 30-45 minutes before the mind just kind of surrenders, and sometimes 60 minutes. And it's about having the patience and discipline to give that time to yourself and just watch what happens. So, but thank you for asking that. Okay. All right. Is it in my best interest to pursue my recent breakup, or just let that go and move on? Is there any additional information that would help, such as timing or suggestions? I tried to use the pendulum, but I'm not sure the responses as my emotions are high. That is understandable. So pendulums can be so tricky. Oftentimes they can tell us what we want to hear, um, because they're reading this extension of the heart energy, and we're really invested in something. It can do that. And even if we try and put answers out there for the pendulum, that A, B, C, or D, balled up piece of paper, that's a little better, but still the pendulum can tell you what you want to hear. So, which is helpful too, because it tells you what your real desires are. So, in answer to your question, let's just see what they say here. Well, they're saying, this is part of that eclipse energy and the shake-up energy, and it's about really confronting what's not working for you. And it's not saying that the relationship was working for you or your person, or wasn't working for you or your person, but it is about taking responsibility for where you are in life and how you want to be here. And this is a time to really face your fears. And make those changes. So they are giving me an image of this person you were involved with as kind of like jumping off a cliff, and really ready to see change. And this might be a part of that. So for you, I am hearing to stay your course, to it's almost like somebody found their wings, and it's like you just got to let them take flight, whatever that might mean for them. And they are saying to not pursue. I'm hearing to just stand back with your hands free, and this will be helpful to hear for a lot of people. Um, they said that effort of pursuing can feel a little controlling, and uh, they would say to trust in this process, to trust in divine or orchestration and timing. And they said, if you are meant to be together, that will come back, and it will come back on its own and without effort, and it will be an organic unfolding. Now, are there situations where, yeah, pursuing is called for because it's just part of the soul contract and that needs to happen? Yeah, but they said uh, for the most part, they said this is where you have to trust in this process and trust the doors that are opening and the doors that are closing. Now, this door does look closed, but it doesn't look locked, if that makes sense. It doesn't look like it's been bolted and all of that, never to open again. So, and the guides are telling me that the hinges have been oiled. It will so it can open and close, it can move freely, and but it looks like the knob is on the other side for this person to open. Um, so your work is to just stay your course and let go, as you said in your question, right? Let go. I'm not saying to move on. I'm not hearing to tell you to move on. Yeah, live your life and stay in the high vibing place that led you to this person in the first place. Like, be there. Like, do that for yourself and do that for everybody in your life. Like, get back up to that place and where you feel optimistic and opportunistic, and you feel like this is a time for you, of expansion. So that feels more important than anything, is for you to remember who you are before you even met this person, and really tend to your own vibration here. Because remember, when we go through breakups or hurts, or even when we get into relationships, often our vibration, it really, because it's mixing with somebody else, it can fluctuate. And so the work is remember who you are. And if this person was bringing a lot of fear to the connection, that might have lowered the vibration some, if that makes sense. That's going to happen. But the important thing is to tend yours, and take this time now to get back into that place where you are a bright being in a beautiful light, and you are meant for good stuff here, and you have so much support around you in the divine. Get back to that place. That feels more important right now at this time. So, but like I said, they're telling me the doors hinges have been oiled, and it's not locked, bolted down. So I know that's so hard to go through. Okay. As I continue to travel on my life's path, I've entered uncharted waters. Last month, I began to experience a stillness within me, and this continues. I've also noticed that I'm becoming more spontaneous than ever before. Can my guides and team give me any insights and clarity as to what is happening as I move forward on my soul's mission? Okay. Let me see here what they say. Well, I'm going to have to disappoint you on this one. Um, no, they said, this is for something for you to be with and to make your own determinations for right now as to what this might mean. It's almost like, I don't know why this is happening, but it's happening, and you're going to get to a place where you're like, oh my gosh, it all makes sense. So that's kind of what they're saying. They're not answering that question for you yet. They are appreciating your awareness around the stillness that you're experiencing and finding within yourself, and even being more spontaneous. And so what they're saying too is you're learning The it's like you're learning what it feels like to reach beyond the human boundaries. I don't know how to explain that, but like your spirit in human form is stretching out here and having new experiences, and that's important. So, for some reason, I feel like this is a vibration that you're going to really align with and help other people align with too, at some point. To really, so that's why this journey is so important for you to be so hyper aware of, if that makes sense, because I feel like you'll guide people in a process, and you're learning all the ins and outs of it now. So okay, one more question here, and then we'll get to everyone live here. My daughter is seeking employment as soon as she's cleared to go to work, wondering if the guides can share anything about a job that's in her highest and best. Okay. For some reason, they are showing me housekeeping, and I know that's a really physical job. Um, Yet they are showing her either getting on with someone, like a private person, or starting her own business. And it just looks like for her that would be really rewarding. Hard work to get into, and yet once the routine is in there, it looks like it's easy. She can make her own hours, choose her own clients, set her own prices, and it just feels good. And again, she'll get into a routine that things become fast and easy to execute, if that makes sense, in her job. So that's what they're showing initially. May not be appealing for her right now because it feels physical. Um, and she's been challenged in that way, but that's what they're showing. Now, is that also a metaphorical, like we're in this cleanup period, time to clean things up? It could be. It could be there's some things for her to really clear up in her personal life, clean up, before she has that clarity around work. So, and I don't know if that's a decluttering kind of thing or clearing up emotionally, mentally. Let me see here if there's anything else they show. They're also showing a country club, something. And it feels like there could be work there. And I don't know if that's a greeter at the desk, or a hostess at the restaurant, but it just feels there's something at a country club. It feels like a country club more than a hotel. So, but there's something there. There's something there. Hospitality, it feels like and I mean, I know housekeeping is kind of hospitality, but that felt more like a personal business. So hopefully that makes sense and will be helpful. Okay, so thanks for being patient. Let's see what we got over here. All right. Okay, so here's one. There's one opportunity. What's going on with my husband's job search? There's one opportunity he's working on. It's been 5 months. Will the CEO offer him the position soon? My anxiety is high. It's causing health issues. Ooh, I get that. Hold on here. Sometimes the hardest thing in life is to surrender to this process, isn't it? And just really trust that the divine is got a plan, and that is kind of laying out a path for you. So I would say your work in this is to get out of your head and the anxiousness and really learn to get into your heart center and trust. So they're telling me that intuitively you already have the answer to this question, and they would like for you to access that answer yourself. And so this is on purpose because they're asking you to develop a way to get out of the anxious mind spend, if that makes sense, that those mind loops. And really because they said you're a bright being, you are an intuitive being, and they would like for you to learn how to really come into that place of knowing. And they said you may come to like knowing that this job is going to work out, or you may come to that knowing like, but that's okay because there's another one that's even better. So they're not telling me which one. I would say this: he's not going to remain unemployed, for much longer. Is this part of the 6 month period that we're in? Could be. It's got to be something he really wants to be doing, not that he feels like he has to be doing, if that makes sense. But I would say this is also a part of you getting into that place where you're really connected to your own intuitive nature and you can talk yourself off the ledge. Does that make sense? So sometimes these happen because we're meant to develop those skills that are available within us. And it doesn't mean you still can't say next week, reach out and say, okay, I did that. I got to this place of knowing. Can you validate what came through for me? You can still reach out to people like me because, we all love that. Yet, even I can connect with what I can connect with, and I can connect with my own guides. Sometimes it's just nice to, you know, get a reading from someone, but most of the time it's going to be validating. So they want you to get to that place of knowing first. There's an exercise here for you. But one thing I will say this: you will be taken care of. Things will be okay. This just seems to be a really climactic time, and it feels like you're responding to the energies of the Earth at the same time and the planets at the same time, and so there's a lot going on. I would say you're sensing. If I could say, they would say if they would tell anybody to go put their feet in the grass, they would tell you to do that. And any of us, any of you that might be listening or watching that feel that, just that mind spin right now, because it is, there's a lot of anxiety right now on the planet. And so a lot of you sensitive souls are tapping into that too. And that's why they said go stick your feet in the grass, because it is instantly grounding. Because while things are spinning here, the earth itself is still solid, and you can connect with that energy. Okay, the next 3 months. Well, I'll tell you this. I know we've been talking a lot about cleaning things up, and even housekeeping came up for someone. For the person asking this question for the next 3 months, they're showing me an image of a broom and a dustpan. Like their stuff is getting swept away, swept into a dust pile and taken care of. The trash is being taken out. So I feel like whatever's happening for you, that's going to be cleaned up in this next time frame, or the next 3 months that you're asking about. I do feel like this is divine help that is sweeping, putting things into a pile, easily discarded is what I'm hearing. So there's still some more cleanup. This feels more like an industrial cleanup, if that makes sense. So look at the next 3 months as being part of the cleaning process. And sweeping is getting all the stuff you can see. If that, when we sweep, we're sweeping up debris we can see for the most part. And that's what this 3 months is going to be about for you. But it does look like a divine assistance in this. Like you're not the only one pushing that broom. So hopefully that's helpful. Okay. You've provided so much insight these last shows that have helped me tremendously. Yay. Thank you. Wondered if you see any new male romantic relationship for me in the near future. Okay. Let's see here. I'm hearing no, not within this next 6 months. Um, Spring of next year, I am hearing it's kind of like spring, new life, new energy, new way of being. I'm not sure what March or April mean for you, but that's the months they're taking me to next year to be open for that. They said for now, XXX, don't even look for it. Don't even, I'm hearing don't even look for it, don't even think about it, don't even entertain it. And if it spontaneously happens, then let yourself be pleasantly surprised. It could happen before then, but they're just saying take that off the table right now and look forward to the spring with new life, new energy, kind of just like an emergence. And then again, like I said, timelines with relationships can slide around and sometimes for years for people. And I don't know why. I've not figured that out why. And I never get a clear answer on that why. Um, so they can move up, they can stretch out, and sometimes they can be right on the nose. So, the more important thing I would say, any of us that have a desire, it's when we release that desire and we're not attached to it, not attached to the outcome or timeline or time frame, it just will show up. What is meant for us will just show up. So the guides know what is for our highest and best, and they are always maneuvering, for that specifically. So it's nice when we can be in that relationship with the universe where we let ourselves be pleasantly surprised because we know this is a good place to be and we know we can trust our guides. So if you get spontaneously surprised with meeting someone before the end of the year, you're going to have to let us know. Okay, here we go. I'm having an urge to try purchasing a home. Okay, can you see if there is a message for me? All right. Well, I am hearing to really go back to age 5. There's something there that got set in motion, and there's a need for a home, but it feels like it's got set in motion way back when. So I'm not sure if you were moving a lot when you were a child, or if the home situation was unstable, but there's a need for you to have some stability, it looks like, and they want you to really check where that's coming from. And does that make sense? Okay, yep. She said, yes, no stability as a child. And so that's what feels like is really driving this desire to buy a home right now. So soothe that part of you that grew up with the instability and let her know everything is fine. Like you got this down. And when the right home shows up, you'll take it. But you're not going to take a place just because you need a place. And I would say soothe that part of yourself. I understand. So you have a fear of your kids feeling unstable. So I'm not hearing that you bring that energy into the equation, that you yourself are stable, you yourself are reliable, as is your relationship. And so what you are offering as an experience there, what I'm hearing for your kids feels more of an adventure rather than instability. And part of that is because when you were a child, there was more fear in the adults around you, and I'm not hearing that's the case in your home. So there's a difference, if that makes sense. So it's a great question, really something to be conscious of. Okay. All right, let's see here. All right, you guys. I am so glad you all joined today, and I just love your questions. And I hope you really realize the questions y'all bring forward speak to all of us. Like, God, there's so many things today that even I needed to hear. And again, I'm just so grateful that y'all are willing to share your questions, your stories, your journeys in the ways that you do. Oh, let me draw us a dream card. Let's see. Okay, not looking. Oh, this is so funny. Well, we got, what was the hug, kiss, sex on the first one, embrace all parts of yourself. Well, now we have baby. So that is babies, well, this one says reconnect with your innocence. And really, gosh, if we could think of the joy that we came in here with, you know, as a little soul coming in, we were so excited to be here and find a way to access that innocence and that excitement and that joy. And baby energy is all about new birth. Is this a time to give birth to something? Maybe you've been putting it on hold. Think about that. Think about, is there something you want to give birth to right now in your life? And go for it. So this is the time. We are in shake up mode. The landscape is changing. So y'all hang in there. Say your prayers for each other, your benevolent prayers for each other, and remember your MBOs for yourself. They really work. They really work. And I'm glad to share with you. So thank you. I will see you next Wednesday. I haven't changed the day or time yet, and I'll give plenty of notice when I do. Okay? All right. Thanks, you guys. Bye. Oh, how do I get? Okay.